one of the very, very important things about digital print and technology today is, of course, workflow. And I have found Jane Nerf, right? Is that the correct pronounced?
Absolutely.
Jane, tell a little bit about what you're working with.
Okay. So as you look around, you see a lot of the offset and the digital world converging, and a big part of that is because people are using more variable data, and print runs are becoming shorter. So what we're demonstrating is the workflow behind improving your efficiencies and automating so that you can actually keep up with that one-off production.
And you are head of you're product specialist in marketing and workflow. Is that correct? Or
Yes, in workflow, so in our software solutions, in our professional services, which really go hand in hand. Helping you to automate that process is not just software, but it's also people and processes.
Okay, so when you are working on the workflow side, is that what we used to call the PRISM from OSE, or?
The PRISMA, yes.
The PRISMA.
Yep.
Okay. And just because I have to get up to speed in this one, in the old days, wasn't PRISMA just like an umbrella of a lot of different software?
And it still is. And so, we do everything from order intake and order management to pre-press software, and also output management. So having a central point of control to run not just Canon devices, but non-Canon devices, all from a single point of entry.
So that means that if I am a customer, let's say that I operate a competitive brand, and I would like to buy a Canon workflow solution and add some Canon hardware to it, that is perfectly doable?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the thing is that, historically, if you had a different printer vendor, it came with a proprietary data stream. And so Canon has always positioned itself as being multiple inputs, multiple data streams, legacy IBM and Xerox, et cetera, and then being able to output to any device.
And I guess that, obviously a tremendous advantage for a printing company. And how does that put you in the market position? Is that something that you actively sell, that you are able to deliver cross-vendor solutions?
Yes, we do. And today, in order to automate your process, people are moving towards what's called JDF file formats. And the idea behind JDF is that it would not be vendor specific, that this consortium came together so that people could, you wouldn't know really where you were going to send, what production line you would be sending a print job to. And so the idea is that we've actually, and what we're demonstrating today is a advanced JDF processor that allows you to take in these JDF-enabled XML files, PDF files, and output them to any device in any production line, and then be able to do a late bindery that if in fact one production line is down, you don't need to go back up to your prepress and reimpose all of that. It's something you can just change last minute and do either a reprint or just send it to a different production line. So really that multi-vendor, making that a reality that you can still do that is really where our attention is in our workflow.
Obviously, when I listen to you, I hear that you have a great understanding of the technology and how it works. I was, the reason I was asking is just because when I go talk to printing companies, it's still like black magic sometimes.
Yeah, and I think if it's working right, it can be black magic, and that's the hopes. Is that I don't want to have to think about which production line and how does my job have to be imposed, and is it JDF enabled or not JDF enabled? Do I need to put barcodes on the application, and is it on the leading edge, which way for which device? So we try to do all of that ourselves and make it black magic for the end user.
And is that something that Canon Solutions America actually offers to the customer, also to be the consultant in this challenge? Yes,
and when you asked me my roles and responsibility, I said it's software and professional services, because it does take the expertise and the knowledge of working with multiple customers. We gain so much insight ourselves, and so to be able to take sort of be that single point that we can help you to integrate your existing software with new software and to help you get to that fully automated, it is definitely people as well as software.
So if I'm a printer in Alaska, just to take Hawaii is longer away, but if you take a printing company that far away, is it actually Canon people that goes there, or you have local partners, or how do you actually operate?
We do have partnerships with other software companies, so it really depends on, but yes, we do go, we do have reps out in the field. They work very closely with any partners, and so often we know we're selling a Canon solution with maybe a non-Canon software because people have already made investments today, and so they don't want to undo some of the things that they've invested in. So we try to work very closely with them to enable them to sort of marry these islands of automation together. So that might be a combination of Canon and a partner.
We spoke to one of your clients before from PCI, and he saw Canon more like a stakeholder in his company rather than just a vendor, which is, pretty amazing to get that kind of endorsement. And I was just wondering, when he was talking about that kind of services, is that because you really dig into the understanding of the painstaking of a customer before you come with solutions?
Yeah, I think we always look at the way that our company our philosophy is KOSE, which is working together for the common good, and it really filters down throughout everything that we do. We look at not just our partners like the media, pre and post processing, software partners, as people that we work closely with, but we look at our customers as partners because their success is our success. We even offer services to help them grow their business. We help them to actually find new markets and to unload new applications onto their printers. So I like to think that the compliment that we receive from PCI is one that you would receive from many of our customers, because that's our goal.
That's fantastic. When you talk about these, about basically the professional services and also the software suite that you are selling, I was just, maybe it's prejudice, but I was just thinking that I think many people think of the printing companies like Canon, Xerox, these kind of companies, more like mostly interested in hardware. Is that totally misinterpretation, or is that something from the past?
Well, you're talking to the software person, so I think that the industry is very focused on hardware, but I think that the more our industry changes towards automation, software is really the underlining facilitator of anything. And really, if you're going to gain efficiencies, if you're going to differentiate yourself in the marketplace, it's your workflow and how well you can actually produce jobs to get things out on time, on schedule, and in the best quality, comes down to how good is your workflow.
So with everybody being more and more busy, I think that your role and Canon's role as supplier of both the professional service and software is not getting less important in the future.
Oh no, it's becoming more and more important. And when you said the industry's always been focused on printers, I think that is changing as people as we started heading into like Industry 4.0 and people start recognizing really we've got so much intelligence today and big data and artificial intelligence, that what we do with that data is making our print applications more and more singularly focused. And so the only way really to meet that one, personalized application is through automation and software. And so the focus has gotten far more, it's gained a lot more attention in workflow than ever before.
And that leads me back maybe to the last question, because the reason why I was asking about this knowledge with printers, because when I talked about black magic, one thing is black magic, what happens and comes out of it. But I was also thinking of it from a perspective that it requires a skill set from the printer to actually invest in this technology.
Yeah, and I think that's where we're trying to take some of those requirements for, today when you submit a job with a JDF format, it's actually passing along communications as to how does that job have to be positioned, etc. It's passing on, as far as the finishing devices, the printing, how is the job imposed. We're trying to automate more and more and doing things like batching jobs up front based on common medias and things like that. Take some of that skill set so that it's automated for you, so you don't have to dive deep. And what's the best way for me to batch a job together to get that output?
And final thing is that basically when you have that approach as well to your customers, I take that it's even more important that you have almost like a stakeholder and almost like a friendship approach, because they have to put a lot of trust in you as a supplier.
Yes, yeah. And likewise, we do what's best for our customers, because like I said, if they're here 5 years from now and maybe they're only using our workflow and not our printer devices, but if they're entrusting us with their workflow, then eventually they're going to recognize I would, that trust goes beyond to, further into printers and other, areas as well. So really that's our goal is to form partnerships and relationships for the long term.
So cool, Jane. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Nice
thanks
talking
for
to
your
you.
time.